Sir Jake E. Fabon. I am Ivory Shaine Piad, the representative of our group to interview you for our leadership and decision-making course handled by Sofronio Dulay. Before proceeding to the main interview, let us first have a brief overview about what will be the mechanics and the process of this interview. This interview session is made for our finals. This session will undergo video editing, transcription of the interview, final editing of the paper by the editor-in-chief, then uploading of the video. Lastly, this session will be presented by our group on December 12, 2022. There are a total of 14 interview questions regarding leadership and decision-making. Answers can be in Filipino, English, or Taglish. So now, let us begin with the interview. Sir Fabon, what is leadership to you?
To answer the first question, what is leadership for me? As a student leader, for me, leadership is the foundation of everything that we see in a society. It is a mindset for me. A mindset and at the same time an ability that makes the society itself moves. It allows us, or it allows someone, or let's say me as a student leader, to illuminate change and progress. But also at the same time, behind that, as I said earlier, it is an ability. It is an ability to influence and to make people move in order for us to achieve our common goal.
All right. Do you manage to build your own leadership self-image?
Okay. So for that, I think as a leader or any leader have different or various, let's say, leadership image. And as for me, as a person and as a leader, student leader itself, I think it is important for us to be able to manage, because we are not just presenting ourselves. You need people to acknowledge and legitimize that authority that's being vested upon you. And through having or through managing to build that self-image or leadership image, it allows us to be an effective leader. It allows us to present ourselves sa mga tao na yun, for them to recognize or for them to acknowledge, or in a simplest way, for them to know at least, diba, that you are a leader and you are there together with them to accomplish something. A bigger picture na as a group you need to accomplish, and there is that leader na magli-lead sa atin doon sa success na yon or sa accomplishment ng any task na pinapagawa sa atin. That's why I think it is important for any student leader to build their image.
What practices or advice can you give to be an effective leader?
So, as a leader siguro, ang masasabi ko na best practices in my end is that yung ability natin to make people or to command them to move and to do the task. Kasi as leaders, 'di ba? Syempre may mga group mates tayo, let's say group mates or mga other students na we are leading. Mayroong mga students na they don't know what they're doing, or they don't know kung ano yung gagawin nila. And as leader, it is our responsibility, and it is in fact our accountability to lead them. And as a leader, it is our responsibility to let them know and to assist them so that magawa nila yung dapat nilang gawin as a member. Because in any group, as I said, there is a dynamic, and hindi lang dapat yung isa yung gumagawa, dapat collectively at dapat lahat gumagawa. And ayun, dapat as a leader, you let them know or you assist them, you lead them para at least alam nila yung gagawin nila. And of course, you wouldn't be able to do that kung wala silang tiwala sa'yo, or if you are not credible enough to lead them.
So, how how do you handle the pressure and adjustments in your first 90 days as a leader?
Let's say first 90 days of leadership, it is not actually it is not actually doing the task per se. It is about knowing each other and knowing their strengths, knowing their weaknesses, and of course assessing your colleagues and those students or those persons that you are leading. Kaya for me, it is a bit challenging and at the same time exciting then, since you are able to know and explore people's perspectives.
How did you build your effective relationship with your superiors or workmate in a short period of time?
I think in connection with what I had previously stated, it is important for us to build a connection with them sa simula pa lang, and we have to make sure that those first days na nandun ka sa organization, na nandun ka sa position as a leader, you have to make use of that short period of time, and you need to be certain that that impression that you would na maipapresent mo sa kanila is a best impression, because ang tawag dito, katulad nga ng isang sikat na salita, first impression last. Kaya for me, dun pa lang sa first impression na yun, dapat i-establish mo na agad na okay, you're credible, you are reliable, and you are this person whom we can depend on.
So the word power and authority both have different concepts. However, in leadership, both have an impact on the situation and the followers. As a leader, how do you use your power and authority to influence people?
Well, yes, authority and power, they have different definition, of course. But for me personally, I think it is best that we set things straight. Excuse me. Dapat alam natin kung ano yung dapat nating gawin doon sa responsibilidad, or hindi lang responsibilidad. Actually, it is in fact a power and an authority combined na they vested or they trusted upon you, and it is up to you now kung paano mo gagamitin yung mga yon in order for you to be an effective leader.
There are various instruments in developing tactics in order to influence people. Hence, what is the most important and effective way or strategy for you to persuade or influence your followers?
Okay. So the question is, paano natin sila ma-influence or paano natin sila mapapasunod as a leader? Well, of course, as I've said earlier, it is important for us to establish our leadership or self-image to them and to present ourselves credible. Kasi katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, hindi natin basta-basta mapapasunod itong mga magagaling na mga estudyante, yung mga taong ito, na basta-basta without any legitimacy and without any authority, but most especially without any credibility. It is important for any student leader to have credibility, because hindi ka lang kasi estudyante eh. Kapag leader ka, you have a much and way more bigger responsibility, and by that time na you took that position, you are already accountable, and therefore you should be responsible for that position.
Is it difficult for you to deal with your followers who hold different values?
Let us set things forward and straight, and if those beliefs and if those perspectives ay nagiging detriment na sa group or sa organization, we should be able to eliminate that, and we should be able to unite to an idea, to a much effective and creative idea, at pagkasunduan natin na doon na tayo magsettle. Para hindi na tayo nagkakaroon ng conflicting views, para hindi na tayo nagkakaroon ng mga paiba-iba na mga plano. While of course it is also important in a democratic country that we listen to their ideas, but of course not all ideas are good naman.
How can you say that you're a good leader in your organization? What effect do you believe you have on others?
I think one of the essence of student leadership, as I observe, is that the ability to make people move and act. Parang ako kasi parang, of course, as a student din, kaklase mo pa rin sila, and pare-parehas kayong mga estudyante, and that is the greatest equalizer. But if you are a leader, hindi ka dapat mahihiya na sabihin sa kanila yung ganito, na i-criticize sila, and i-assign sa kanila yung mga tasks, or let's say utusan sila or iutos sa kanila yung mga ganong bagay, and seeing them na kumikilos talaga at gumagawa responsibly and properly, and namimit nila yung expectations na sinet mo in the first place as a leader. Parang doon ko siya mas na-observe kapag kumikilos sila, at kapag napapakilos mo sila as a leader, parang doon nagkakaroon ng parang validation yung leadership kapag na-move mo yung group, of course leading to a successful path and success in the long run.
Do you think one's personality traits affect the relationship between a leader and a follower? Why or why not?
Well, yes, it greatly affects your relationship with your members. In a sense na kapag ayun nga, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, magkakaklase kayo or schoolmates kayo, whether or not you are their superior, pare-parehas kayong estudyante, and that is the greatest equalizer of all. And kung nandun ka na sa position being a leader, or let's say a student leader, parang kailangan meron ka ng isiset na mga boundaries, kailangan meron ng mga limitations, and you need to make those limitations and that boundary clear sa kanila. Kasi of course iba-iba yung mga pananaw ng mga estudyante sa iyo. Like for example, perhaps they treat you or they perceive you as their friend in that particular manner. But how about being a student leader? Still important to build that rapport and that communication and that relationship with them, because it really helps you as a leader. Because in student leadership, especially in college, it is very important, an imperative one, that we act in utmost ethics and professionalism, and that should be upheld in any way.
What do you think is your most qualified personality as a leader?
I think as a leader kasi, I know my responsibility, and I see to it that na alam ko kung ano yung gagawin ko given that position. Hindi ako pumapasok or hindi ako nagbibigay ng consent ko sa leadership offers kung hindi ko alam o kung hindi ko kaya kung ano yung papagawin or kung ano yung hinahanap na dapat mong gawin being in that position. And that, I think, is courage and of course a credibility rin, because hindi ka dapat pumasok sa isang bagay or sa any leadership position kung wala kang credibility. And one of which I can say best qualities that I have is credibility, and you should be able to prove that, so that they will be assured na they can trust you and they can rely or they can depend on you on whatever it is that is being tasked in your group or in your team or in your organization. That is the first one, credibility. And pangalawa, I think courage, kasi hindi lahat ng mga student, hindi lahat na mga tao they have the courage. At marami, because of this lack of courage, because of this lack of confidence, marami mga opportunities ang nasayang. And a good thing ako kasi as a person, I'm always open for opportunities, and I see to it na kapag walang opportunities, I open the door myself. If they would not open that door, I would build it myself, or I would open it myself. And most of the time, that is my mantra. And hindi mo magagawa kung wala kang courage. Hindi ka lang andoon para magsalita, andoon ka para mag-command, at andoon ka because there is a bigger picture and there is a goal. Kaya it is important na meron kang courage to enter that leadership position, and at the same time competent, and you have the credibility as a person, as a student, and as a student leader. And lastly, I think humility. Maraming mga instances na people would be intimidated, they would be intrigued kung sino ka. And yung mga iba, like for example sa amin, sa Residential University, kapag dadaan ka lang o kapag kakausapin mo sila, mafe-feel mo yung intimidation. They're intimidated by that position and that status, which for me naman is not that serious. Kaya parang yun, at the same time we need to be we need to humble ourselves. So you need to be to initiate na you are a friend, and at the same time you can lead them. Mga leaders or student leaders ako na-encounter na parang their presence really intimidates me, in a sense na they are bossing around, na they are acting like they know everything, as in everything, and they act like they are the most competent, the most righteous one. At doon ako na masyadong na-off and nainis, in a sense na they don't have sense of humility. And how come they become leaders? Dapat na meron tayong humility, not just in presenting ourselves in people, but in essence na kailangan nakatatak sa isip, sa puso natin at sa gawa, na at the same time kahit leader tayo, we can connect to them, and we are normal na tao lang, na hindi dapat sila ma-intimidate o hindi dapat sila maapektuhan because of that mere status.
And for the last chapter, consisting of 2 more questions, what do you think are the factors that need to be considered in community leadership?
I think as a leader, and which I am applying to myself then now that I am a leader na din ngayon, na dapat you have sense of duty and responsibility and sense of empathy sa mga tao, and doon papasok yung yung strength ng community. Doon yung ma-develop yung strength ng community na lumaban, na magpursige at maging determinado. You need to be able to instill to them na hindi sila dapat magpaape, or that they should voice their concerns and they should stand up and they should be determined, or they should at least make their voice and vociferations be heard. Kasi kung hindi tayo magsasalita, or kahit saang pang mga konseho, kahit saang mga council, kahit saang mga organizations, it is important na nagsasalita tayo.
So how are these factors important to community leaders?
As community leader, kailangan alam niya yung responsibilidad niya, at hindi siya basta-basta nagbe-bend, at hindi siya basta-basta natatakot, at hindi siya basta-basta nagiging sunod-sunuran, at hindi siya nagiging instrumento para mas mapasama pa yung komunidad o yung mga taong pinagsisilbahan niya. Bagkus, as a leader, dapat magsilbi siya as a weapon to those who are weaponless. As a weapon doon sa mga tao na hindi kayang ipaglaban yung kanilang mga sarili, because after all, as a leader, as a community leader, especially those leaders that that I am saying, those community leaders in indigenous communities, kung saan sila talaga yung pinaka vulnerable sa mga oppressions at sa mga problema ng lipunan natin, kailangan alam nila kung papaano mo ipagtatanggol yung kanilang mga mamamayan, yung kanilang mga nasasakupan, because no one would do that for them kung di kanilang mga sarili.
Okay, that's all the questions. Thank you so much for taking the time to have an interview with us. It was a joy to learn from you, sir. It was very insightful, and we are extremely thrilled about the opportunity you have given us. This favor will greatly help us to pass this course and SEM. Again, thank you so much, Sir Fabon.
Okay, thank you to each and every one of you guys, and it is my pleasure. And I am actually surprised and at the same time flattered that I was chosen to speak and to share my insights to each and every one of you. And in that way, I am hoping that what I have said in front of all of you or on behalf would be of great contribution in accomplishment of your task. And again, my name is Echague Fabon, and I thank each and every one of you, and especially you, Miss Ivory and Beatriz. Hello. Thank you po.